wanted was for her to turn around
and it's heartbreaking.
Focus on me,
acknowledge you, accept
you, be with me. You took me,
give you something.
It's I want your company. I want you to help me. I'm a kid, and she never really did that. And what I've realized as an older guy is that I still do that a little bit.
What do you mean?
And this is all part of addiction and all that stuff, but I still want the unavailable, the person who's not turning around. I still want that person to turn around.
Attention seeker.
And notice me.
Craving their attention, yeah. I can relate to that a lot.
Forms, as a guy who doesn't drink or do drugs, that's like a little bit of a drug for me when a girl goes, I don't want you. Oh, no, I do want you. It's a little bit of a drug for me because all I wanted was for her to turn around or mention me on the news or whatever.
Yeah.
And she, she didn't do anything wrong. She was just doing her job. But that's something that, from a young age, it hurt me.
And then there's this other Canadian, there's also the Justin Trudeau part of the book, which I really got a kick out of, which is that you grew up with the Prime Minister currently.
Yeah.
You may have beat him up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still unclear whether you beat him up or not.
The Murray brothers that I spoke about earlier.
What's this?
Remember those guys?
Yeah.
I'd like them to stand up.
Are they here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Brian,
wow.
Chris, come on, you have to. Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up for a second. One more time. Give him a round of applause.
Well done, boys.
Okay, so here's the deal with them. Those guys are my best friends since 3rd grade.
I love that.
And they and I started talking in this kind of interesting way. Maybe you're familiar with it. But we would say to each other, could that teacher be any meaner? Could I have more of a detention? And I took that way of speaking.
Oh, I love him so much. I've got this connection to him, dude. It's just so admiration. That's what it is. I fucking love this dude.
And made like $100 million off it.
What a lad.
These two very nice guys, they did not do that. But they're nice about it, you know what I mean? You would expect somebody to be kind of mean about that, but they're just great, and I love you guys. And, the Murray brothers also were there when I first drank, so, fuck you.
And were they there when you...
I often think if I could go back to... I've had various dealers over the years. If I could go back to the first one and just shake his hand and go, thanks. Thanks for fucking everything.
Potentially beat up the Prime Minister.
That's their story, is that I beat up Prime Minister Trudeau.
I've got to hear this story.
And, it's possible. And it became a Twitter thing where I said it on Twitter, I guess, and he responded, yes, and wouldn't you want to punch Chandler in the face? And I think we should have another battle, is what he said.
Interesting.
And I immediately wrote back, you have your own army. You win. Good luck in all your endeavors. Stop writing to me. Run your country. So I'm not sure if it happened.
Another Canadian who means a lot to you in more of like a path that you sort of started to follow and something you started to aspire to was Michael J. Fox.
Right.
Another legend.
He was not just like an actor you liked, but he sort of represented something you wanted to aspire to.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox, and I was young. I'd done a couple of plays in school, and Michael J. Fox was it, man. When I was in 9th grade, Michael J. Fox had just done Back to the Future, and there was smoke coming out of my ears. I was so jealous of this guy, right? And he had, at the time, the #1 TV show and the #1 movie.
TV show? What TV show was Michael J. Fox in? Interesting.
At the same time. So he was huge. And I don't know anybody else who's done that except me.
Yeah.
You had that with the whole 9 yards. And you had that with Friends.
The whole 9 yards out and Friends, of course, and they were #1 at the same time. So I thought that was pretty cool. And maybe only Canadians get to do that.
It's pretty cool, but could you imagine how much that would fuck your head up and fuck your life up? I can't relate to the level of fame this guy's had, but I've experienced this very, very, very small amount. I've had some press activity, and I've been on TV 4 or 5 times, and blah blah blah. Nothing, absolutely nothing compared to this guy, obviously. But even that teeny tiny droplet of fame that I've experienced ruined everything. Ruined everything. It feeds your ego. It makes you think things that aren't true. It gives you a false sense of security. It brings you money, and money brings you problems. Just fame is not the answer to anything.
Yeah, they choose one Canadian every 30 years.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
The next one is being born right now.
Yeah, I wish I was there for that.
Yeah, me too. So we'll get to Friends in a second, but before you get the role on Friends, you moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You go to school, you act in school, in plays, and next thing you know, you have an aptitude for acting. You start to get this attention for being an actor. You shoot a movie with River Phoenix. You're shooting a sitcom with Valerie Bertinelli. You're hanging out with this new kind of crew of buddies.
Yeah.
Hank Azaria is one of them.
You know who he is? The guy on Simpsons?
Yeah. And who are the other guys? Who were they?
David Pressman was a friend of mine. I'll talk about him in a bit. And Craig Bierko.
Yeah.
Not familiar with these guys.
Was the funniest guy. And I thought that I was the funniest guy. And I was just like a little second behind Craig Bierko. And he was a little better looking than me, and we all loved him but hated him because he would get all these jobs and stuff. You want me to tell that story now?
You tell whatever you want. Go ahead. Yeah.
I can speak freely?
Oh, yeah. You don't. The Prime Minister's not here, so you can do whatever you want. That's fine.
I don't know. You may know this story. Do you know the story about Craig Bierko?
No.
You don't? Okay. So the pilot season in Los Angeles is a very important time for actors where they do all the new shows. So you get hired to be in a new show, and if they like it, it gets on the air, but you have to do a pilot first. So my business manager called me and said, "You have no money." And I said, "How about a little warning? What's going on?"
How much is the little heads up? Could you have told me yesterday?
And so I called my manager and I said, "I need money. You got to give me a job right away." And the job that they got me was called LAX 2194, and it was about baggage handlers in the year 2194.
Nice.
Did you hear the applause? Someone tried to applaud when
Someone
you said
tried
the name
to
of that?
applaud. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And I wore a futuristic shirt, and there were little people wearing wigs, and they were the people in the futuristic people. Whatever, it was awful, but they paid me the money that I needed to drink more and eat more and all that stuff. So then a script called Friends Like Us started to make its way around the people, and I saw a character in it that was me, and we all know which character that was. And I was like, I am this guy. I am Chandler. You got to get me in to audition because I'll get it because he talks exactly like I do. And they said, we can't send you in. You're attached to the baggage handler show.
Oh, no.
And I kept trying. And a couple of my friends said, you're so much like this guy. Can I read this with you? Can you show me how to do it? And I did show them how to do it. And I was like, well, don't hit that word. Hit that word, and you'll get it. And they got really close to getting the part based on that. So I was just miserable.
Imagine that. Imagine that. The role you're destined for, that we all know no one else would have done a better job than him. That role, you end up coaching people to try and get it because you can't get it. Wow.
I knew the show wasn't going to get picked up. I'm reading Friends Like Us. It's so good. It's character-driven. Courtney Cox is already in it. It's like Jim Burrows is directing it. It's got all this stuff. So Craig Bierko calls Hank Azaria and I and says, can you please come to meet me at this restaurant at 10 o'clock in the morning? I've just been offered 2 shows, and I need your help. to decide which.
Oh, no.
And my first inkling was,
do the other one. Yeah, yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you with your wallets are too small for your 50s and your wrist that's too small for your Rolex. Fuck you with all your problems.
I don't want to see your success and vote on it. So,
oh man, I can relate so much to this. I don't know if I should tell this story now. Oh, I won't.
So Hank and I both showed up. He had 2 scripts in his hand, Friends Like Us, and a show called Best Friends. That was the other show. Both directed by Jim Burrows, the best director in town. And we read through both scripts, and, you know, I wanted to, but I'm not a jerk. So I said, you know, you have to do Friends Like Us. And so did Hank.
Wow.
And then we went our separate ways. And Hank went to the gym, because he was always going to the gym. And Craig and I went to Trader Vic's, Fred Siegel, which is a clothing store. And this is back when people were using payphones. 1994. Nobody had a phone.
I was 9.
So
how old were you in 1994? In the comments.
The phone, the payphone, and called his agent with me 2 feet away from him and took the other show. And I said, see ya. And I raced home. And I was like, the part's still available. They don't have anybody. It starts Monday. Please, please, get me in.
Wow.
I'll get it. And somebody finally saw the Baggage Handler show. And it was not going to get picked up. Mostly because it was about baggage handlers. So I was what's called a safe second, which means their show's not going to get picked up, so we'll hire them for our show. And my manager called me and said, I got very good news for you. You're reading for Marta Kaufman, the executive producer of Friends, tomorrow morning. And I was like,
wow.
Oh my God. And I knew my life was going to change.
Wow. I've got goosebumps. Wow.
And I went in there on a Wednesday and I read for Marta Kaufman and David Crane and Kevin Bright. Then on Thursday I read for the producers. And then on Friday I read for the network, which was the final thing. There's like 45 people in the room. Wow. And there were some other people reading for Chandler, but I knew this was my job. And I did it, and I did it in my way, and I got it. And then we started,
I did it my way.
On Monday. That's how fast it all was. And I was the last actor hired in 1994, the final one. And then we started on Monday, and, you know, the rest is history.
Wow. What a story. What a story.
So you've seen it.
Have you seen Friends? Have you?
How much of you, when you say that character, you said when that character came up, it was me. It was already me. But then you, I mean, as you referenced earlier, you bring your style of speaking from you and your friends. Like, what do you bring of yourself to that character?
Everything. I just feel like I know him because I know Chandler. Do you know what I mean? That's how it feels.
I mean, it really was what Chandler was originally was supposed to be a sarcastic observer of everybody else's lives.
Yeah.
That's what it said in the breakdown. So basically, Chandler had the final laugh line after a scene, and all I brought to it was the way that the Murrays and I spoke. That was the different way. And I had done 4 shows before that and tried to do it, and they were like, talk like a normal person. I was
That's
like,
not where the accent goes.
I think this might be funny. You might want to try it. And, I brought to it, there was a line like, somebody said something about genitalia being in somebody's house or something, and the line was, well, I don't want that guy in my refrigerator, near my refrigerator. And I said, well, I don't want that guy near my refrigerator. And they were like, whoa, what's that? Keep going. Why did you say that? Why did you say it that way? And so that was sort of where Chandler was born. And then he had to wear a lot of sweater vests.
Yeah, there was a lot of sweater vests, a lot of ska
Yeah.
fashion back then. You know what I mean? Like you're like a bass player in a